What's good, Detroit Sports Nation? I am Eric Vincent, your host here of the DSN News Desk, back again to chop it up with you, the best fan base in the world. I appreciate your time and support, and I really wanted to hit on this subject, man, because a lot of people have been talking about it, and it's something very anticipated with the Lions. Dan Campbell talked about the anticipated return, highly anticipated return and debut of rookie wide receiver Jameson Williams, who's still healing up from his ACL tear back in college, and he said it still could be a little while away. I know we've been getting to run around this discussion for a long time. I mean, during the draft, Jameson was even talking about how he thought he could be ready for training camp, and he thought he'd be ready to go by the time regular season started and preseason, and we've pretty much been getting a lot of delaying in terms of when we might actually see him in this number 9 jersey of his. It looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than we expected, according to Dan Campbell. It was a good write-up on it on our website at DetroitSportsNation.com. Please check out my man Dylan Blair on the write-up. Very good editorial by him. And I really think this is an important statement, man. I think we're seeing a point where the anticipation is coming not during the detriment of the offense, because the offense looks fine, but the team itself is in limbo a little bit. And I do believe he could be a big difference maker for this team. But there's been a lot of discussion that maybe, especially considering the fact that he's hurt, that maybe that trading up for him in the first round was a mistake by the Detroit Lions. I'm not of that mindset. I don't believe that at all. I really don't. I will admit that I was very suspicious at the draft when it happened. Now, granted, we understood where the Lions stood on offense. They had a lot of holes basically all over the team. Maybe not so much on the offensive line after plugging in Penei Sewell, but their weapons needed a punch for sure, especially the wide receivers. And they didn't have DJ Shark at the time, if I'm not mistaken. They only had Amon-Ra St. Brown. They had a TJ Hockenson who had been a bit up and down in his production and his consistency. So you were in a position where another weapon for Jared Goff would only have done him a little bit more good. And I'm totally okay with it at this point. Seeing the game breaker that he is, seeing the ability that he has. He doesn't really have the same kind of play style as any of the other receivers on this team. He's not as polished of a route runner in the intermediate as a Amon-Ra St. Brown. For what we've seen so far, right now, it looks like his best strength is his acceleration and his speed. Now, granted, he's coming back from an injury, so we're going to have to see how he adjusts to all of that. We've seen the hype videos. We've seen him, running indoors with his shirt off and whatnot. All that looks fine, but when the lights come on and when it's the Sundays, that's when we're going to see how he really is, what he really moves like when he has a defender in his face pushing him around. But again, to stick on this, I'm okay with the move that the Lions made. Again, I understand the discussion. I understand the worry, because you have the worst defense in the entire NFL at this point in time. So it's perfect time to pause and kind of panic about what you're watching with this team, at least on the defensive side. I feel bad for the few starting caliber players that they have on this defense right now. Like Rodrigo's playing his behind off. Hutch is being a little up and down right now with his play, even though I still do see the upside and the potential with him. And Jeff Okudah's rejuvenating his career right now. He looks fantastic. It looks like he's playing like a top 5 corner, even with this performance he had against DK Metcalf last week. Excuse me. I'm not going to sit here and get too worried about it, at least on the offensive side for that draft pick. The defense, you should definitely be worried about, because they are in a complete necessity to revamp basically every level of the defense. You're going to need at least 2 more edge rushers. You're going to need a D tackle or 2 that can help free up some space and some one-on-ones for Hutch. You're going to need another linebacker. I'm not sold on Anzalone. He's he's okay in sporadic, moments, but consistently wise, like, he's been getting a lot of penalties. He's not really been reliable in terms of run support or in pass coverage either. He hasn't really been that consistent. And then they try adding Derek Barnes in, for extra run support, and that's really not doing a whole lot for them. This team needs a lot of help. Secondary too. You can use another cornerback outside of the next on the the opposite field of Jeff Okudah. You need somebody else to line up with him, because even if you think about it, considering the injuries that they have in the special teams and seeing where Jeff Okudah is, everybody's talked about how it's a make or break moment for him. If he continues to play this well, he's in a position where he doesn't even have to return to the Lions. Somebody's going to pay him. So you might be in a position where you got to draft 2 or 3 more corners. It's a lot of holes on this roster. You know Tracy Walker is hurt. Tore his Achilles. Deshaun Elliott's only standing starter at this moment. It's a lot of other young guys that are coming in that were supposed to just be rotational pieces. A lot of the rookies that are getting a lot of time now, guys like Kirby Joseph. A lot of these rookies really going to get tested sooner than later. And I think it's a little too premature to blame or look at the Jameson Williams pick as the reason why they're struggling. Yes, you could have possibly put those resources or that draft pick into the defense, but who's to say that you're not going to go from the worst defense in the NFL to just 26th or 27th? I mean, that's still not great. You at the very least want to be functioning. If you have a top 5 offense, which the Lions are working with right now, you want to complement it with, at the very least, a middle-of-the-pack defense to go along with it. You don't want an NFL worst behind you in support, and that's what they got to deal with right now. I don't blame the Jameson Williams pick. I still trust Brad Holmes with the decision, and I think he's going to be, like I said, that difference maker for this offense to stabilize them at that number 1 spot, and not just for this year, but for years to come. We don't know what Josh Reynolds is going to be. We don't know if he's going to be here for the long haul, even though he is playing well and has a very good, vibe and connection with Jared Goff on the field. He obviously loves Amon-Ra St. Brown. We don't know what's going to happen with TJ Hockenson and his contract. And a lot of the other guys behind him in the receiver depth chart are not playing well in DJ Shark, or they're getting hurt a lot. Khalif Raymond just got hurt. Quentin Cephas just got hurt. There's a lot of needs still, even at the wide receiver position. The best teams and the most electric teams in the NFL have 2 or 3 weapons that they can rely on. And the Lions need that on a consistent basis. They have that in St. Brown. It kind of comes and goes with TJ Hockenson. He doesn't have that in DeAndre Swift as a reliable option out the backfield to throw to because he's always hurt. And again, Shark's not playing well. So you still are at a point where you got to establish those consistent weapons that Jared Goff is going to throw to. Because if they're still just struggling to find their rhythm and they're getting hurt a lot, that's going to serve as a detriment to this team. But I'm okay with the JMO pick. I don't think people need to be worried about it. But tell me if I'm tripping. Talk to me in the comment section. I would love to hear from you about the Jameson Williams pick. Do you think this was a mistake? How did you feel about it during the draft, and how do you feel about it now? Tell me about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And, of course, like the video as well. It always helps to show a little bit of support. Please lock into the channel, subscribe to help us get on our way to 5,000 subscribers. I'm telling you, we're right around the corner from making it happen, and it would mean the world to us. It's an easy way to support the channel, and we would really appreciate it. Hit us up on our social medias as well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Support and search for Detroit Sports Nation so you can lock in and stay tuned with us. And stay tuned with me, my channel, my link right here, and my social media handle at I am Eric Vincent. And I'll be right back here again to chop it up with you with a new update right here from the DSN Update News Desk. Peace.